Even though we know how the story of the Dutton Ranch ends, this show is about showing us the trials and tribulations the Dutton family had to go through in order to keep their land from their enemies. We're halfway through season 2 here, and we can clearly see how much of an evil and sadistic bastard Donald Whitfield is, and even Banner Creighton is appalled with how he treats women. The interesting thing about this episode is we get an early glimpse about a particular spot with zero population in Wyoming. Now, where have we heard about a spot where no one goes in Wyoming? The train station. It's kind of cool to see this because we've seen it quite a few times in the original Yellowstone series, and this is just, again, an origin point that Donald Whitfield brings to our attention. With Banner amassing 35 people to fight for both him and Donald against the Duttons, there's going to be a brutal conflict by season's end. This episode continues to show the struggles everyone has to endure. How long will Tiona have to run from the bounty on her head? How much longer will it take Alex and Spencer to arrive in Montana? Now that we know Elizabeth is pregnant, will this shift her mindset about living in Montana with this harsh winter? And I really do hope so for Jack's sake, because she's definitely getting ridiculously annoying. Thankfully, we got quite a bit of Spencer in this episode, and it's interesting how both he and Alex have these parallels of what they go through with their physicality. For example, Alex getting beat up in the bathroom, whereas Spencer does the beating up. Both of them have to run aboard to get in their respective trains to continue with their journey, and if anything, this episode continues to show how much they're willing to go through in order to reunite with one another. I loved the badass moment of Spencer defeating the tax collector and the other guy aboard the train and kind of knocking out the young kid, just very easy for him to dispatch. And you really gotta hand it to Alex and not giving a damn about what anyone thinks on the passenger car of how she looks. She maintains her dignity and just walks down the aisle about her way. And when she gets to her room and meets the mother with 2 kids, what did she mean about being questioned of the man who beat her up when she says he took everything? Now, does she mean the bracelet, her belongings, her valuables? Or does she think that her baby is also gone? Because if that's the case, then it'll be really sad for her, and if she tells Spencer eventually what happens, then I'm sure he's going to be heartbroken as well. Because we have to remember, Spencer doesn't even know for sure Alex is on her way to him or Montana, let alone her being pregnant. Lastly, the surgical procedure Jacob and Jack help Dr. Miller with, who uses chloroform to sedate Zane, is wild, especially since this is the first time Dr. Miller has done this procedure. I knew Zane would wake up, but somehow he's able to remain calm while Dr. Miller has drilled into the top of his head, drains the blood, and removes a nasty little blood clot from his head. And yeah, the man definitely deserves a drink for completing a successful operation. The one part that annoyed me about this scene is when Zane first wakes up and screams, and who could blame him, but in the other room, Elizabeth also screams, and it's like, women, you have no idea what's going on, and why are you screaming? And it's miraculous Zane is even walking, kind of, but the other miracle is Elizabeth being pregnant once Dr. Miller inspected her after her last rabies shot. I also think Jacob, old grumpy Harrison Ford, is concerned for Elizabeth being pregnant, bringing in a newborn when they'll be on the verge of revenge and war soon enough. It's another thing that he must help protect, and he hopes that his own home will not be attacked through this entanglement. Plus, I wonder what he'll think when he meets Alex, assuming she's still pregnant once she arrives in Montana, but at least Spencer will be there to provide support and backup. I really did enjoy this episode, and we'll see when things really start to pick up here. Hopefully Spencer and Alex don't take too long to reunite, and they don't stretch it out till the end of the season. That'll do it for this episode. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, I would appreciate it if you give it a thumbs up, hit the subscribe button, the bell for notifications, and I'll catch you next time here on The Plot Strikes Back. Cheers.